Okay, here's the setup for the photo booth itself and all of its digital and electrical components. So I've already set up the 6-foot table here. I assume you know how to do that. And to get that table started, we are going to open up the printer. The printer, we're always going to put the printer case here. Be very careful with this, by the way. It's a very expensive printer. The printer case, we're going to put the table covers on top of the printer just for extra security for our printer. So we'll close that back up. Careful with the printer. Put our table cover on the 6-foot table. Nice fit there. Everything goes underneath the table, all these bags and everything afterwards. Next up, we are going to take our camera bag. So this is the Printing Photo Booth #1 camera bag, and could also be the case for the animated GIF photo booth, but for today it is the printed photo one. So we'll open it up and we're going to see all of our components inside, and we are going to place the photo booth basically. So over here we've got our backdrop. We want the photo booth itself. You've got your podium stand here. We want the podium stand about 7 feet or so from the center of it. It doesn't really look centered on this shot right now. But kind of like this. So you can see it's centered about 2 full paces away from whatever backdrop we're using. And this is our podium. We have 2 different podiums. We have this kind of wooden one, and then we have the really nice totem stand one. And I've already got this scrim on the totem stand one. The totem stand I generally have all together, but we can take it apart if we need to fit it in a smaller vehicle. But we'll use the wooden one today, just for example. This one I fabricated myself from a garage sale, saving some money. A $200 totem stand. So the idea is that we want to get the booth itself about less than 20 feet from a wall outlet, so we can have the right amount of cable. If we don't, we might need to borrow an extension cable from the venue or possibly from the DJ or something like that. And so we open up our bag here. Inside the bag we have the light. This light is going to go in the bottom of the totem to light the white scrim of that totem. We've got cables here. So we've got two different power strips that are going to power this unit. One's got a long cable. Well, actually both of these got long cables. The longer one in the other photo booth bag will want to go next to the table so we can have it go to the wall. You don't need a very long one at the actual podium stand itself. Can you back this up a little bit?
I was thinking
that. Okay. So we'll start taking the things out of the bag. We've got an extension cord. We've got an IEC cable for the printer. IEC cables have this strange, not quite 3-prong thing going on here. It's like you'd see them in computers and things like that. IEC cable, very important. We've got our DNP wireless. This is the wireless unit that connects to the iPad to the printer. And then we've got the power for the light ring itself in here. Okay. So first thing to do would be probably to set up the printer itself. We'll put the printer on the table here. So important thing about this printer is to keep it upright. Pulling it out of its bag. I want to put it generally next to the wall or something like that. We want as much security around this printer as possible. But you basically put the IEC cable into the back of the printer. Take off my gloves now. The IEC cable into the back of the printer. And then plugging the wireless unit here as a USB. So we've got the wireless unit plugged into the USB, and then power for the wireless unit going into this little tiny slot here, mini slot. So this is your old USB here that'll go into the printer. And so that wireless unit basically just sits at the back of the printer. And I generally hook it up kind of like on the edge of the table, so it can see around the printer itself and just kind of sit next to the printer like that. And we can have the power for it snaking off the back in a real easy fashion, so it can hit to the power strip nice and easily. So for the power strip with the longer connection, we will plug the printer itself into it, and the wireless connection into it. And then this one will go on the floor behind it. And you have an extension here. We'll probably have two extensions in there probably at some point to make sure that this stretches to the wall. So I'm going to connect it to an extension cord here. I've already got set up for it. We've got power. So then we'll want to take the other extension out from the power strip itself here, going to the actual photo booth. So we're going to plug this into the power strip, and then send the cable of the power strip under the table and out to the photo booth itself. And so we've got this line running to the photo booth itself, which we're going to want to gaffer tape down. Okay. So then we're going to set up the photo booth on the podium. So each photo booth on the podium is going to have a light ring we're going to attach to it. This is the light ring case. We have two different light rings. At this point, this is the one I'm using to explain this. And I might have replaced this by the time you see this video, but I'll show the other one as well. So we're going to do this one first. So to bring this out, Jakey, you can bring it all out here.
Yeah.
You can see how to attach it here. So along this this piece here, this is a baby pin, which I have affixed on here. You're gonna put this, you're gonna loosen this up here, slide this down onto the baby pin, so it goes all the way down on there. You have to loosen it up nicely. It'll snap in nicely, and then you'll want to tighten it real tight. And then we've got the light ring there. So that light ring itself has its own power. So we plug in the power for the light ring And on this specific podium, we're just gonna run the cables down the side here behind it. And try to, we'll probably gorilla or gaffer tape them to the back of one of these poles so it's not seen as much. So then another thing is what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put a weight bag on the bottom of this. So before we get going too far, we'll put a weight bag down here, slide it in like so. And then we got that there. And then we're gonna put the other power strip attached to the power that we brought over to this. Power strip goes right here. And then we can start affixing things to the power strip. We've got the light ring there. And we need a couple different connectors as well, which I will typically have in the right bag for you, but they're in the wrong bag at this point, so I'm pulling them out. Well, I'm gonna find it. So for now, we're gonna pull out from the bag, from the camera bag, should be a white cloth, which is our scrim for this. And inside that scrim should be our camera. Now the camera should have its faceplate on the lens, but for some reason that was not done at our last event, so that should be done in the future. Now this camera is going to attach to the top of this here. See how I just snap that in here? Or if it's the other light ring, it's gonna go up on top. A little higher. Yeah, the other light ring has the attachment up on top. But for this one, this 19-inch one, we can attach it right there. And we're gonna wanna put some Gorilla Tape on here to make sure that on the front of this, that it doesn't come flying off and break my DSLR camera. So attached to the camera, essentially we have this is going to go to the iPad, and this is a multi-prong connector which is going to connect to both the camera, and it should all just kind of be connected currently, but if it's not, this is a USB coming out of the camera here, which is going to go to this USB connector here, and then we have power for the iPad running here. And that will go to a USB which we will plug into the power strip. So we will get that all together momentarily when I grab some Gorilla Tape. So let's actually put the iPad up there before we affix the camera to it. Now the iPad back here, iPad generally stays in this one, will stay in this front compartment here. You got your 7-inch iPad, basically a 9-inch overall screen, and this is gonna go in here. I'm just gonna turn this around for ease of setup. So this thing loose in the back, slide this up, put the iPad in, and then tighten it down on the back side. Nice and tight. That's a little off-centered. Get it nice and centered. Tighten it down. And this should be just an easy open iPad with a push button there. For some reason it is not responding well. Welcome to technology. Open it up again. We're in our event space there. Okay, so then we're going to attach the DSLR camera. It's a little bit just kind of hooked underneath right now. DSLR camera slides into this slot there, and we'll put some tape over it because I can't figure out a better method. Make sure that that's nice and sturdy there. Great. If the iPad itself isn't sturdy, mess with the connections at the bottom there. I don't recommend messing with them too much if it's not 100% sturdy, because this iPad stand is still a little bit wobbly, which is probably why I'm going to replace it relatively soon. The other one's even nicer. So that is that. And then basically at this point we can put a light ring, or put the uplight, the floodlight. Here we have the floodlight. We're going to put that down at the base and plug that in to the power strip. And so that would sit down at the base to illuminate when we put the scrim on. And we'll put the scrim over the top of everything. Hopefully this fits over this. I think it does. Can also be good to put the scrim on beforehand, before putting on the light ring. Probably even easier. But it's pretty stretchy, so if you need to, you can go over the light ring. Stretch it all the way down. And then kind of bunch it. I've designed this so people don't put drinks on it. And just kind of have it bunched at the top there. Great, so then we have our iPad here set up and connected. Let's see if the printer is set up. What we're going to want to do now is we're going to find Wi-Fi Booth is the app with which we use this. So I'm going to actually let's try to get this closer so we can see the actual software.
You want to go to shade. We can pause it, flip it around here.
That's fine.
Okay.
Wi-Fi Booth is the app we're going to use here. So you're going to typically scan down to the bottom, which is where I'm going to have the most recent event. Click that event, which I'll set up for you, and then press. Basically, you want to see. Oh, we got some shade here. Great. We're going to want to see which event we have going on and how it's set up. So if there's any of these three here are red, then there's something wrong. So we got a Wi-Fi here connecting to the printer, camera here connecting to our DSLR, and printer itself. So let's check out the settings on the computer. So go back to home, go to computer settings, and then look for what Wi-Fi. Currently it's connected to my house Wi-Fi. That's not right. What we want is it connected to my DNP Wireless Connect, or whatever DNP you see there. The other one on the other iPad or the other printer would be the DNP 2x6 times 2. So it's going to print 2 at a time. So I've connected to DNP Wireless Connect 1, and that is what we want. That is our wireless connection unit. That's the little thing we had next to the printer there. So then go out and go back to Wi-Fi Booth and press close here. So then here is our basically our operating system for the consumer, for the clients. They would press that to take the photos. But if we want to connect to our camera and everything here, we're going to want to, we need to have the camera plugged in. That we don't have. So where is that connection? So again, we have the 3-prong Apple connection here. Probably have a USB-C one of these soon for the other iPad. Plug this into the side here. So now we should have power connected to the middle and the camera connected to the outside here. It says camera on it. And then we're gonna go and now we should be able to turn the camera on. As long as we have power here. Let me make sure we have power. Nope, the power strip was off. So turn the power strip to reset, which is the setting it up. So then we should have power. So I'll turn my camera off and on. Make sure we have everything nice and plugged in and connected. I think we probably don't have the camera plugged in. Yeah, the camera was not plugged in either. So that's why it wasn't making any sound. We're troubleshooting as we go here. Camera now should be connected to power. Turn it on. So it actually has just found the camera. The system did. Very nice. But if it hadn't, you're going to go to this top little thing here, press camera, and you would need to find the Canon EOS device here. Can you see this? Looks funny. Yeah. So if it wasn't connected, it would probably be connected to just the iPad video, which is also something we can default to if we need to. Go check it out. We've got like an infinite loop here.
I know.
Very cool. So if it's looking for camera, we tell it to press camera here and it's going to look for the camera. And sometimes it doesn't find it. And so if it doesn't find it, you're going to want to shimmy the connections to the USB and the connection to the USB up here. And then you'll probably want to turn it off and on up here on the camera. And there's this button on the back, which is this button on the back here of the camera. Press this button that turns the screen on. Typically. I'll turn it off and on. And then this button should turn the screen on so you can see visual. Oh, it got turned off of automatic for some reason. Should be on automatic. Great. So automatic is a setting on the top that's an A. So now that I've pressed that, looks like it is connected to the Canon EOS Rebel T6. That's great. So then we're going to go up here to the printer and we're going to turn on print if it's not already on, but turn it on, and I'm just going to show you how to do it. So turn on print, say connect to a printer, and then press AirPrint. It's going to look for printers. And as you see, it found the DNP RX1. Press that, and now we are connected to our printer there. So then now we can see over here we're connected to Wi-Fi, which is the DNP wireless. The camera itself is green and the printer is green. So then basically we are good to go. So